first and foremost, you should be very clear on what your life goals and objectives are. If it is service to society and to do have impact on millions of other fellow Indians' lives and transform their lives for the better, if that is the kind of goal you're setting for yourself, then there's no better service than the IAS. Close to 20 to 25% of the project cost we were able to save. Just by using the Prahari app in 1 year, I saved more than 4,000 crores out of a budget of 30,000 crores for that year.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Business Networking with Vipul Bondal. So today's episode is slightly different in the sense that, typically we have business people or professionals on this program, but today we have a very special guest who, is a bureaucrat or a former bureaucrat. He has he's a retired IAS officer and a very well-known IAS officer in that sense. I'll give me a couple of minutes to introduce Dr. Nitin Gokarn. So Dr. Nitin Gokarn is a career bureaucrat and policy practitioner with demonstrated consistent results for governments for over 37 years. He's worked in the areas of public policy administration with industry interface, both in the government of Uttar Pradesh and in the ministries in the government of India, specifically in the areas of urban development, metro transportation, automotive regulations and testing, roads and highways, taxation, specifically GST, urban planning, housing and real estate, smart city, coffee, information and public relations. So this is about him. Just give you a little idea about his educational background. He is a Mumbaikar by education. He studied at the DG Ruparel College, part of Mumbai University. He did his BA in economics, and then he did his MA in personnel management and industrial relations from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Thereafter, he also did his postgraduate diploma in business finance from the ICFAI Hyderabad. And he is also a CFA from Hyderabad, ICFAI Hyderabad in 1998. He's also studied the postgraduate program in public policy and management, PGPPM, from the Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore, with a component in Maxwell School of Public Policy from Syracuse, USA, from 2004 to 2006. And he also did his PhD on transformational leadership and impact on work outcomes in 2024. I'll just read a few of his several postings. He was the district magistrate at Varanasi from July 2005 to 2006. He was the joint secretary in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India from July 2010 to September 2012. He was the divisional commissioner at Varanasi, which is the constituency of the Honorable Prime Minister from 2015 to 2018. He was the principal secretary government of UP, the Housing and Urban Planning, and he was chairman of the Awas Vikas Parishad from April 2018 to June 2019, Principal Secretary Government of UP PWD, and Chairman of UPRNN, UP State Bridge Corporation, June 2019 to May 2022, and Additional Chief Secretary from 31st of March 2023, Principal Secretary Government of UP Housing and Urban Planning, with additional charge of State Tax Department, Chairman Awas Vikas Parishad from June 22 till September 2024. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Nitin Gokarn. It's our privilege to have you on our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
So, you are rare change that we've made from our normal course of guests. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, professionals who normally come on our program, but we I wanted to have somebody like you to talk about the role of government, something that touches all our lives. And in that sense, you are an exception. And we are privileged to have a IS officer like you on our program. So for many of our young listeners, and even for many of us actually, government is something that we stay far away from as far as a career is concerned. So can you tell us what it is to work for the government? And you've been there at the highest level. So if you can just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I actually, when I was studying in Mumbai, if had anybody told me I'm going to join government, that was one of my last priorities. Just like any other typical Mumbaiker, I was
That's
also
right.
at a corporate life or going abroad, like many of my cousins did and stuff. Uh, what happened when I was studying was that I used to appear for a lot of these exams. Those days, you had a lot of exams which were competitive in nature, banks and various PSUs and stuff. So virtually every weekend, I would be going for some exam or the other. Uh,
Right.
the idea was to to sharpen my own self in terms of my own knowledge and skills.
Okay.
Would also go in for various job interviews and group discussions and stuff. And I had more than a dozen job offers at the
Okay.
time. I got this offer letter similarly from the UPSC in my first attempt at about 21 odd years, which was the first attempt possible to
Okay.
become an IPS officer in Government of India. Uh,
Right.
I really hadn't thought much about it at that point in time. It was
Yeah.
only when I asked for an extension in time, seeking time, thinking that they might give me more time to join, that they said you have to join by X date or else your candidature is cancelled. That's
Okay.
not a bit serious.
Okay.
And I landed up in Missouri thinking possibly I'll come back, just have a look at what it all means and then come back.
Okay.
Uh, Although entering it is very difficult, entering government
Yeah.
is
Absolutely.
very difficult today also is very difficult. But leaving it is even more difficult because once you are in, you realize that there's so much of responsibility and work that uh, government entrusts you with. Right from the word go, when you are posted in any subdivision, either in
Hmm.
the police or in the IS, uh, deal generally with let's say a 5 lakh population to begin with. I mean, that's how the subdivision was in UP at those days. Uh,
Right.
then if once you progress onto the district, you deal with a population of, let's say, 25 lakh to 50 lakh. And virtually every problem under the sun
Hmm.
is government. I mean,
True.
you are staying at your home, electricity, water supply, solid waste management, sewerage, drainage. You come out on the road systems, road networks, metro systems, transportation systems,
Absolutely.
traffic systems, smart cities, urban areas, rural areas, connectivity, trains, everything is government. Most of us don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's all pervasive. It's
Correct.
like you have to be told that this is not government. When you realize that no, there is a interface there as well. You tell me one
Correct.
area and there's no interface. I really doubt it,
Hmm.
including land, of course, the biggest issue.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, that's true. That's true. So how did you? I mean, how did you make? I mean, so is was it really by, as you mentioned, really by accident that you got select? I mean, when I mean accident, I mean you were not intending to join the government service when you appeared for your exams and all of that?
I was a topper of my batch.
Right,
And topper in whatever I was studying, whether in economics or at TISF, and
right.
long margin at that. And my subject matter specialization, general knowledge, and all was really in those days at its highest. And I used to, as I call it, sharpen my saw every other exam that I undertook. So the idea was to, see what the possibilities are and where one would land up. Of
Right.
course, corporate job offers as well. I
Correct.
had a lot of corporate job offers, which in those days were giving 4x times what government was paying.
Correct.
So it was not for, definitely not for the salary that one took.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the call was, what is it that makes for a productive life? I mean,
Right.
how well do you lead your life, and
Mm.
how well do you, when you hang your boots, how well do you think that you have contributed to society, to the state, to your community, and to people at large
Do
in
that.
transforming, touching their lives and transforming it.
Right.
That was the opportunity that
That was the
government
opportunity.
gives you, which private sector concentrating only on profits may not necessarily give.
True. That's absolutely true. I mean, I agree with you on that bit. Okay, so another question which came to my mind when I was reading your, your profile, and also when I was, studying about you, is why did you pick the state of Uttar Pradesh? Because, I mean, you're from Hubli, Karnataka, and also from Mumbai, where you have studied. So, one would have guessed that you would have taken either the Maharashtra cadre or, the job fit for Karnataka, or one of the southern states which would have been more comfortable for you in that sense. But why did you opt for UP? And UP at that point in time wasn't really the happening state that it is today. I mean, now you're one of the contributors to make it what it is, but I'm saying it wasn't that at that stage. And why did you opt for UP?
Well, I was from the state of Maharashtra in terms of domicile. I
Right.
did opt for the state of Maharashtra. It just happened that both the times that I cleared the civil services, there were more number of Maharashtrian insiders than in any other year.
Okay.
And the thing was, so only one or two people in a batch could get through the insider quota. The rest, everybody had to go into what was called as the outsider quota.
Okay.
Like today's time, when there is a regional grouping of states which you can opt for, at that time there was no way you could opt for any other state.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So if you didn't get your home state, you were people who didn't get their home state were ranked according to their ranks. States were ranked alphabetically, so it was a lottery as to where you would land. And
Okay.
it was a lottery that both times I landed up in UP, which again,
Okay.
I don't know what the probability is if you calculate rank
I,
and state alphabetical wise. The probability is probably 1 in a million or even less.
Right, right, right. Okay, so just for the benefit of the audiences, Dr. Gokarn also was, I mean, he got selected for the IPS in 1987, and thereafter he got selected for the IAS in 1990, something I missed mentioning in the beginning. So that's why, sir is saying that it was twice before this. So can you tell us your early days as an IAS officer? Because I'm sure, I mean, of course, you had the benefit of being an IPS officer in the same state. So what were your early days in UP like? I mean, this was in the 90s when, like I said, one wouldn't have thought of going to UP, at least to make a career. So, what were your early days, and what were the things that likened you to think that, okay, this is my karma bhumi and this is where I'm going to work? So what was it that endeared you at least to the state?
Well, the state wasn't people in general were different from what one found in the metro areas. Uh,
Right.
Generally, even today, I think a lot of people from UP come to Mumbai or to other places for work. So the migration was out of UP.
Right.
Anybody coming from other states to UP to work, or possibly the only exceptions were banks and government employees. Those are the only
Correct.
category, and probably defense personnel. Those are the only two, three categories of people who worked in UP were outsiders. But no, I don't think so in the private sector. Uh, Urbanization was very low. I think probably less than 20% of UP was urbanized. It was mainly a rural swath.
Right.
And some of those places were pretty much arrested in time. I remember first time I visited my subdivision, which was Jalalabad in Shahjahanpur, between the river Ganga and the Ram Ganga. There were three other tributaries of the Ganga which met there in that subdivision. And during the monsoon, like these months, the entire subdivision would be completely cut off. And the only way possible would be to go by boats, and even to travel was the only methodology was to go on horseback, because there
Oh,
were roads. No, not even Kacha roads. It was just inundated areas, large swaths of it. And therefore, when I went there first time with my wife, we were near the Ramganga River, which was, I think, summer, almost February end time, beginning of summer. And we were traveling in an open jeep, open petrol jeep. Those days, subdivisional magistrates got jeeps. There were no question
right,
of the ambassador, because the ambassador only the district magistrate and the SP had. Uh,
right.
and no other official in the government had. Rest everyone had jeeps. So people,
Jeeps. Okay.
those who have not seen petrol jeeps, will be wondering what this is all about. But it was a nice place in hindsight. But on that particular evening, as we were approaching the Ramganga, we saw a cloud of sand coming towards us, and we kept quiet, and suddenly that cloud of sand emerged as we were coming towards it into more than a couple of dozen horsemen
Okay.
who could only see their eye slits, and the rest of all their thing was
Face was covered.
covered in white, and they were doing bareback riding. Every
Oh,
one of them had double barrel guns with cartridges, belts around both of them. And I said, "Welcome to the Wild Wild West." So that was UP.
it was actually out of Sholay. Like,
Yeah,
almost like out of Sholay.
I don't know whether you've seen that movie of Shashi Kapoor
Yeah,
and Kendall. It was virtually shot in those kind of areas.
right. Okay.
1857 era, and I don't think after 1857 till 1990 much had changed in the rural areas there.
Right. My God. So this was, I mean, literally kind of, baptism by fire, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was specifically sent there by my district magistrate saying that, I need a young IAS officer to go there, because even a promotee IAS officer doesn't, a promotee local provincial civil service officer has never stayed there. So I want to demonstrate to the people that a direct IAS officer who's got nothing to do with the state can go and actually stay there and administer the area and
Okay.
show that it can be administered, because most people thought that it was an unadministrable area.
Wow. Okay. So then how did you manage that? I mean, if you can tell us a little bit about that part of your early career.
Well, there was no electricity per se. Uh,
Okay.
so the question of having a radio or a television set, or I mean, no mobiles, of course. Though that era was
Of
pre.
course.
No computers, of course.
Yeah.
The only thing you could have was typewriters. No English typewriters also anywhere, or everything
Oh,
was in Hindi.
okay.
It was like you were in a Hindi movie virtually. So, and you had to tour, and meet 400-500 people on a daily basis, hold court, and decide on revenue court matters. Uh, and major part of the time was on touring and ensuring that the writ of the administration actually runs, and that
Right.
the type of people who were used to waywardness were brought under control. That was the whole agenda.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is something completely unimaginable, I'm sure, for a lot of people listening to this. Even people who, I mean, unless some of you may have worked there, it is completely unimaginable, to even think of something like this. And we are here, Dr. Gokarn is actually talking about people, carrying double barrel guns, and he has to actually get them to follow the rules. I mean, so that's really something. So, okay, so we'll move from there to, the overall government, the way government works. I mean, from the outside, when we see government, we see, like I said, various departments, every department managing something or the other, which we touch as citizens, and very often we feel that, each department is a silo of its own, without or with very little coordination between them. But in reality, does it happen like that? I mean, is it really that, each one is working in their silo with very little idea of what others are doing? The feeling is that because these departments are working differently from each other, things slow down, or, it leads to greater cost for things to happen. Could have happened earlier, but it's taken longer, I mean, is that true, or is just a uh, perception which is not true?
See, the bureaucracy as such is divided into government departments. All of us are aware of it. Wherever you are in India, let's say, take the case of, let's say, Bangalore. Go to Bangalore, the BWSSB will not be talking to the BDA. BDA may not be talking to the local public works department. They may not be talking to the Bangalore Municipal Corporation. They may not be talking to the electricity department. They may not be talking to the telephone department. So every department works
Has its
as
own.
a silo.
Right,
They have their own chain of command. They have their own budgets. They have their own staff. They have their own hierarchy.
right,
All this is required because really, how does one implement it? It's only by way of an agency that you actually implement anything.
right,
So that is required. But what one doesn't realize is there are certain points of coordination that are
right,
also there in government, who are officials who are whose job is to also, while delivering in their own department, also coordinate with others. Like every, let's say, every PWD department in the state has a executive engineer in the district who coordinates with the local district magistrate for all public works department issues.
right,
Similarly, there is an electricity official who coordinates with the local district magistrate for all the issues pertaining to his or her department. So
right,
essentially, it's the role of the district magistrate as the representative of the government at the state in the district to coordinate across. At that time when I was DM, I had 52 departments. I mean, may I have increased it more even by as time has gone across. But you have to coordinate across 50 plus departments. So you should know the working, the inner dynamics, the budgets, the programs, the policies of every department, and also to coordinate where the interface is across departments. That's actually the challenge and job
yeah.
of what the district magistrate does.
Okay. So at some level there is coordination, but by and large they work in silos. So that's what the
No, well, there is a independence in terms of the departmental working.
right,
Like the DM won't, tell which officer is to work where.
right,
But given that there is an officer at X point and he coordinates with, let's say you have to, I'll just give you a small example. Let's say there are the sewerage department, the electricity department, telephone department, who are supposed to have their projects done on a particular road.
yeah,
So the digging of that road is what you see in the urban areas. It's khuda upar or khuda niche, as they call it. So everything is set up. So that digging and who will execute the work when and what is the window available by when each department is supposed to finish that work. That coordination is actually to be done by the DM or the DM.
right,
live in the city. He goes there and he gives them the permission. Okay, that's how we used to perform. Varanasi and elsewhere, that we would give permissions to the department saying, okay, your starting time is X week, your ending time is Y week. These are the number of times this will be have to be repaired. Of course, unforeseen repairs do happen. Suddenly, a sewer burst, suddenly a water supply pipeline burst, which is an emergency work. But in terms of capex works, where you are actually looking at putting in a or an improvement in the trunk infrastructure, that is where it would actually be done. So every system has got, every state has got the this particular kind of a system. It's only that, how good the coordination actually is, and how good the execution is by the concerned department within that period of time through the contractors that they have on site. That is what actually if the coordination is not there, the contractor doesn't do the job within the stipulated time. All this kind of calculation goes awry. That's where the role of supervision comes in.
Right. So that's how you kind of make sure that it works efficiently and effectively to make things, make the policies and uh, s- whatever you've set out to do, you want to make it complete.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so there's one question which I want to take. It's come from Kanchan Kaur Balani on the community. So the question here is, what one advice would you give to future government job aspirants for life and preparations as well?
Well, first thing for any future government aspirant is, what is your life goal? You have to first define that. If your life goal is to, have a CTC kind of a thing and have a nice life, enjoy your life, enjoy family, don't come to the IS or the IPS. Because here what happens is, when everybody else is enjoying their Diwali or Christmas or New Year, you are actually on work.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is, although you are given, let's say, 30 days of earned leave and 8 days of casual leave and stuff, I think most of my earned leave just got evaporated. One couldn't avail of them, and several of those casual leaves also.
Also, yeah.
So, first and foremost, you should be very clear on what your life goals and objectives are. If it is service to society and to do have impact on millions of other fellow Indians' lives and transform their lives for the better, if that is the kind of goal you're setting for yourself, then there's no better service than the IS.
Right.
And I say this after having worked inside it for decades. The ability to influence and do justice, and that to instant justice, and impact people's lives and make their lives better. Nowhere under no other system in India you can do it.
I hope that answers your question, Kanchan, because I think it's the classical begin with why you want to do this, and if yes, then then the means open up. So, sir, you've been very closely associated with the city of Varanasi and the area of Varanasi, uh, and you've been there. I think on 3 or 4 occasions you've been posted in Varanasi, and specifically during the 20, 2015 to 2018 you were there, and really that period is what is credited for the new city that you see Varanasi as today. So what changes did you bring about when you were there, and what were some of the challenges that you faced? Because whoever has been to Varanasi in the recent past, and have gone there again, are only have are full of praise for what they see today, compared to what they may have seen earlier. So what were some of the things that you did there, and what were some of the challenges that you faced along the way?
See, I've been supremely blessed, I think, to have been associated with the oldest living city in the world, of Varanasi, on four different occasions or four different governments. I don't think officers get posted in different governments to begin with, and four different governments in three different tenures over
Right.
a period of 2005 to 2018, and even after 2018 from the state government through my departments of PWD as well as housing,
Right.
urban planning till 2024. So I've actually seen the city as it has progressed over the last couple of decades. It was not a city designed to be a city. Let's I put it that way. Uh,
Okay.
just like most cities in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, it is located on the banks of the river. I'm speaking from Noida, Delhi. It is located on the Yamuna. Similarly, as you go along the rivers system, you find cities all along the river.
All along the river. Yeah.
Our entire civilization is a river-based civilization, not designed to be an urban-centric area, but it is an urban area. Classically, if you look at Varanasi, the number of national highways that crisscross Varanasi is probably the highest in the state. It's on
Right.
a star network, north, south, east, west, northeast to southeast, all kinds of transportation requirements. And as a city between Prayagraj in the west and Patna in the east, and Gorakhpur in the north, it caters to the entire hinterland as a wholesale market.
Right.
Goods, for textiles, for pharma, for all kinds of stuff. And you have a floating population of close to 4 to 5 lakh of people who enter into the city only for doing business. I'm not talking of the
Right.
religious aspect at all. So
Right.
there's always been a place which is alive 24 by 7. A city
Right.
sleeps, unlike it's almost similar to Mumbai. Mumbai sleeps for a couple of hours at least. This
Yeah. They doesn't sleep at all.
so it has its own challenges because when I joined in 2004, there was no flyover, there was no hardly any ROBs,
Mm.
and the train system actually cut the city into two, and it had only two entry and exit points towards both sides of the city. The only breather that was there was the bypass that had been built, but obviously it was a city which was pretty dense, growing upon each other. Hardly any transportation systems, hardly any urban planning, no solid waste disposal system.
Just matter.
Sewerage went open into the Ganga, the Varuna, and to the sea. Hardly 10% of the sewerage treatment capacity existed, and no solid waste management. Uh,
At all. Yeah.
one of the most dirtiest cities that I rank that and my Firozabad posting as two of the most dirtiest cities that I've had the interface to begin with and then transform it to where
Right.
it is today. So it had problems of all kinds to begin with,
Right.
but it took a lot of planning and all kinds of issues in terms of availability of land because one has to realize that Kashi or Varanasi is located in the eastern UP area, which in any case is dense in terms of population per
Right.
compared to, let's say, Bundelkhand or even Western UP.
Yeah.
And land holdings are also pretty small, fragmented with number of people in each land holding. So
Right.
any project you require land, and the minute you start talking of land, land is not available. The
Correct.
government lands are all gone, either with institutions or just not simply available. So these are the challenges that one faced when one started planning and doing. And I'm
Yeah.
happy that I've been part of the growth story of Varanasi. And most of the projects that you see today on ground, except for three or four of them, have all been planned and at least executed to begin with, or awarded in terms of contracts by me. I was also part of uh, the Ministry of Urban Development when I went for
Yeah.
Delhi. So from that was my first tenure as after being divisional commissioner in 2007-8. I went to Delhi, and it was as the director of the Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission. Uh,
Right.
I was able to give more than 3,000 crores for the first time. I'm talking 2008.
Hmm.
Urban infrastructure for water supply, for sanitation, for solid waste management and sewerage systems. And most of those projects continued in the Amrit regime as well. And
Hmm.
that's where the transformation of Varanasi happened into its cleanliness and cleaning. Of course, a lot
Right.
still remains to be done. Uh,
Yeah.
by no means, by no stretch of imagination, I can claim that no everything that was planned has been executed completely. We are on that track. We've probably done about 65-70%. I think about 30-35% work more needs to be done so that the river Ganga gets cleaner.
Cleaned up.
You can actually start utilizing it. We are there, but not quite there.
Okay. Yeah. There's a question from Anjali Singh. So I think that question is very, very related to what you just said. So can you share one decision you made that you feel had a big, big impact on people's lives? So maybe you might want to share something that you did in this tenure that you think had a big impact on people's lives.
Well, let's say I'll give just one example. When I joined in 2005 in Varanasi,
Right.
the ghats of Varanasi were full of people who were washing clothes,
Right.
and clothes would be dried up all along the ghats.
Right.
They had been doing it traditionally for centuries.
Yeah.
And one of the Clean Ganga mission objectives was to ensure that clothes are not washed in the river. And
Right.
livelihoods are also not impacted. People should have their livelihoods, but they should not wash the clothes in the river.
Correct.
So we did two things. One is we mapped where these washermen stayed, where their colonies were, and
Right.
close by where local ponds were available, and where lands along those ponds were available. And we
Right.
put up facilities there from the state, free of cost to them. All they had to do was to pay the electricity charges. Rest all was they were allotted places within those
Please.
washing areas with water and electricity,
Hmm.
and also the discharge being linked to a STP so that
Right.
polluting thing going
Is not discharged into the rivers.
into the river. And despite that, a lot of them, some of them, of course, voluntarily shifted, but there are some who refused to listen to reason.
Right.
One of the orders that I made under Section 144 was prohibiting washing of clothes in the river or using soap while bathing in the river Ganga.
Right.
And whoever did was liable to be prosecuted under Section 188.
Okay.
We had for close to more than a month put home guards and police on the guards to nab whoever was violating it.
Right.
That was a mix of let's say a carrot and stick,
Okay.
enabled within 2-3 months stoppage of 100% washing of clothes or bathing by soap in the river. So it transformed lives. They also got their livelihoods. The objective of cleaning the Ganga took place.
Hmm.
And today you go, you won't find anybody washing clothes there.
Correct.
They do wash clothes, but they wash at the washing stations which have been, you know.
Created. Okay. So this is one question which, I wanted to ask you, like I said at the beginning when we were chatting offline, I mentioned, because if I don't ask you this question, nobody's going to pardon me. The typical thinking is that, it's very difficult to work with politicians. That's the general feeling that people have. But as a bureaucrat, you have to always deal with politicians. Like you said, worked with three different governments in a short span of some 4 years' time. So, how do you deal with politicians? Is there a way you work with them? What is the approach that you take? I mean, as a general rule, I'm sure there is, depends on person to person, but I'm saying as a general rule, how do you approach working with politicians?
I think just as you evaluate politicians, the politicians also evaluate the bureaucrats.
Okay.
Probably have more knowledge about the bureaucrat. And as I say, in UP, whoever has worked in UP for at least a minimum of 4 to 5 years, the politician knows everything about the style of working, and right down to how he treats his subordinates, to how he treats his colleagues. Everything that is there to know about the bureaucrat is known to the politician. The politician is, of course, at a higher pedestal. There's no doubt about it, and no bureaucrat should ever have a doubt that he rules over the politician. That never happens.
Right.
You're both part of the two sides of the same coin, but he has the higher rank,
Authority.
authority, because as they say, although you sign on a government order, the approval has to be given by the minister on file.
Yes.
That approval is the most important thing. You just then are communicating the approval of the government. So, I mean, why only one particular category? Every one of us comes from the same society. So,
Right.
as you have good, bad, ugly in the society, you have good, bad, ugly everywhere. So,
Right.
no strata of society can say that this segment of life is bereft of bad people, or bereft.
Right. That's true. That's absolute.
Find even in I've come across some of the most humble and most generous of politicians to the most vile and most you know, the other extreme, almost
Correct.
politicians. So you have the entire spectrum up front. What protects you is how professional you are,
Right.
how much of your subject you know,
Right.
how hardworking you are, and how prepared you are when you go and meet him or her in any topic of discussion. What
Right.
what is it that you bring to the table? If you are just going there blindsided, then you are of no value to the politician.
Correct.
If you give options to the politician, tell him that this option has got these plus this minus. So you give them the whole array and the whole menu, and then leave the choice. Most often than not, you will find that the choice that you have opted for is what the politician also opts for.
Right.
So it's blaming anybody is, I think, being very short-sighted. But
Correct.
of course, you have people who in the politicians also who are don't value advice and who would say that I know better than you. That those kinds also exist,
Exist.
and you have to take that in your stride.
Right. Another question which I can say is almost like a compulsory question is the fact that, Varanasi happens to be the constituency of our honorable Prime Minister. And, a lot of the projects that, we see that have happened in Varanasi are, the media tells us that these are, you know, dream projects of the Prime Minister. And I'm sure you've worked with him as well. So, if you can tell us one or two anecdotes of your conversations with him, what was it about the Prime Minister which struck you, or, some insights that you gained after dealing with Mr. Modi? Because, a lot of us would like to know how he works.
I think there are two things which stand out. One is if you are doing a presentation in front of the Honorable Prime Minister, he gives you time,
Right,
doesn't interrupt. He'll be waiting patiently for you to finish your presentation, but his mind will be buzzing with several inputs.
right,
Because he comes from having been a chief minister himself of state for close to more than a couple of decades. So that
right,
experience comes to the fore, and he'll be able to tell you things which possibly you may not have factored in or not really given much importance to.
right,
But with hindsight, you realize that, oh no, this particular issue also needs to be factored.
Right.
I think that point in being hands-on comes up very much to the fore. And
Right.
secondly, I don't think he interferes much with your day-to-day issues. That
Correct.
independence is there for you to deliver on ground. And he also has the third point that I find is he has his own systems of knowing what's happening on the ground. So
Okay.
you may tell him that this is what it is, but already he would have his people give him the background information, and tell him that this is what the reality is on the ground. So it's always better to tell what the reality is on the ground and
Okay.
work on that.
Well, that's interesting as well. So one other thing about you, which which is very very stuck in your profile, is the fact that you are tech savvy. I mean, you've worked on the some of the digital transformation projects for the government of UP, and you were one of the early users of tech. So, if you can tell us a little bit about the use of technology in government and how does it happen? I mean, and how do you, firstly, how did it happen with when you were looking after that? And then how do you see it, going forward, the use of technology? And specifically, there's a question from Dakshita here. So her question is, what are your thoughts on AI in public service delivery? So whether AI can be used in public service delivery. So if you can just throw some light on this.
I think technology is like a tool to be used, whether in government or in the private sector or in one's private space for
Right.
oneself. One of the first movers of technology was when I was working way back as a CDO in Almora.
Right.
Uh, Pentium computer had just come in, and
Wow.
possibly the first Pentium computers in 1995 for any DRDA in the state or possibly in the country was with Almora. And we had a dot matrix printer, of course, and we had close to more than 3,500 projects. And one would give a print command in the morning, and the thing would
Printout would come in the evening.
and printout would come final by evening. So those are the projects we had.
All right.
And we also had the HF sets, high frequency sets brought in from Japan. My furthest block in Almora was 5.5 hours by road
Okay.
within the same district. And so those days there were no mobile phones. So I had a
Mm.
HF set right in my vehicle, and all my blocks were connected with HF sets, also with the district headquarters.
Right.
People think that we don't spend on infra. That's not the case. There's money if one wants to. And I used to do my monitoring of projects on the wireless sets from so we've seen those days to today, cut to today. Um, uh, PWD, just like you have an Aadhaar for every person in India, every citizen in India, we embarked on a mission to have an Aadhaar or a unique identification code number for
Right.
every road in the state of Uttar Pradesh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we have more than 3 lakh kilometers of roads, which is the largest road network anywhere in the country.
Right.
So, but and it was important because proposals would come to us for road sanctions. Let's say रामू के घर से श्यामू के घर तक 1 किलोमीटर.
Hmm.
Next year it would be श्यामू के घर से रामू के घर तक 1 किलोमीटर. You would not even know whether it's the same road or other road because
Right.
the road is not there's no number to the road
Number
or
to it. So you actually began by
we did
coding them.
complete coding. We got it onto the GIS map and everything is mapped out today. The
Right.
second thing we did was every contract, every transaction, we mapped it onto what is called as Chanakya.
Right.
All payments are done in real time, and I was monitoring on real time basis what my expenditure was for the day, for the week, for the month.
Okay.
So third thing we did was which no other state government did. We brought an app called Prahari app.
Mm-hmm.
The Prahari app brought in transparency into the heart of the working of UPPWD, which is the tendering mechanism. It
Mm.
opened up tenders to all people across the state who are registered as contractors with PWD. Anybody could bid out for any tender, which we put all tenders on the e-tender NIC portal, and through
Mm.
that linked it with Prahari. You had to put your tender through the Prahari portal. Nobody knows who has bid out. So the whole issue of कि भाई cartel बना के उसको कर लिया, manage,
Ah.
all that went out of the door. And close to 20 to 25% of the project cost we were able to save. Just by using the Prahari app in 1 year, I saved more than 4,000 crores out of a budget of 30,000 crores for that year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the level that of savings that is documented. It's recorded and documented. Uh, just another small example, GST. I was heading
Right.
for 2 years. So somebody had asked for AI. Well, the GST system has been designed by the GSTN, which is under the government of India. So we actually have no access to the IT systems directly, except for what is the front face, not.
Right.
But what we did was we used the APIs from that.
Mm-hmm.
There is this institution called Triple IT in Lucknow. So there
Right.
we gave to Triple IT as a project for their students 18 lakh rupees
Mm.
to integrate all GST returns that are being filed by a particular GST registered number to see whether there are mismatches in the GSTs. In 1 year, from 18 lakhs, we recovered 4,000 crores.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With automated notices being issued to people and told that this is a mismatch in your own returns that you filed.
Mm.
From the Chanakya network, we took out all the APIs with GST. People who are paid by UPPWD, the GST to be deposited, and those contractors who are not deposited were identified. Annually, more than 3,500 crores came into the state kitties because GST taxes were being paid by PWD to the contractor, but they were not depositing it.
Right.
So
Still
this is all power of AI and technology,
AI.
and it multiplies manifold in government because your initial investment is very small, but the
Right.
returns several times.
So after about what? I mean, almost 37, 38 years you were with the government. And now you have retired from the civil service, but I'm sure you're not retired from public life as such. So what is it that you do today, sir?
I write. I am an author of 5 books. Uh,
Right.
I'm currently writing working on 2 other manuscripts. I have opened my own consultancy, so I do consultancies to corporates and governments and stuff.
Okay. So if you can tell us a little bit about this book, Gokarn Across Bharat. So that's a fascinating book, which I've had a opportunity to read a little bit. I've not read the whole book yet, but I've had an opportunity to read a little bit. Can you tell us about this? What is the message that you would like to, uh, you know, give us through this book that you've written, Gokarn Across Bharat?
It is, I think, the interconnectedness of an individual with a particular sacred geography that
Right,
was from, and the sacred geographies spread across various nodes
right,
in this ancient Bharatvarsh. Gokarn, as we know, is in Karnataka,
right,
but there is a Gokarn on the Mahanadi. There are 3 Gokarns in Uttar Pradesh. There's a Gokarn in Pudukkottai, and the most important Gokarn of all used to be in Sri Lanka, Malai or Trikonmali of the LTT fame. It was actually
right.
Gokarn Malai, which even the
Okay.
Greeks under Ptolemy knew about. And Malai for more than 1,500 years by the Cholas and the Pandyas and the Pallavas. They uh, through their trade with China, with present day Indonesia, Java, Sumatra, through that trade, they would get all kinds of rubies and diamonds and pearls, which they would offer to this Shiva.
Hmm.
In fact, out of the Shakti Peeth, the first Shakti Peeth, Shankari, is actually in Konmali. So it tells you that, you know, there are layers upon layers of our civilization which nobody is aware of. A lot of people are not even aware of what Gokarn is, for that matter, or the place of Gokarn is in the north. And this book tries to bring out that, you know, the individual is connected across this whole entire sacred geography through several aspects, not just this particular aspect of Lord Shiva. And of course, Gokarn is the soul or the Atma of Lord Shiva.
Right.
Those who don't know what Gokarn means, Atma,
Thank you.
soul of Lord Shiva, which
Uh,
Ravan brought from Kailash and wanted to take to Sri Lanka, but could not do so because of his own ahankar, because of his own ego. And
right.
there Mahabaleshwar is in his bala, that is his strength, overtook the ego of Ravan, came to park on the Arabian Sea.
Right.
That's your book. And for those,
That's the story. So for our viewers here, please pick up that book and read about this history that Dr. Gokarn has actually taken the effort to actually bring out, and it'll tell us a little bit about the civilization that we all are so proud of, because a lot of those come out of these kinds of stories that which we normally don't hear very ordinarily, is not possible also for us to hear. So he's taken the effort to actually learn about it and write about it. So I would urge you to
so it
pick
is
up that.
actually so entire encompassing of the Bharatvarsh, because as I keep saying, the origin of Bharatvarsh is at Manasarovar Kailash.
Right,
Manas, that is the brain or the Sarovar made by Brahma, in
right,
whose waters come from the sacred abode of Lord Shiva, that is Kailash.
right,
Uh, there are four rivers which emanate from this system: the Indus, the Satluj, the Brahmaputra, and the tributary of the Ghagra. In fact, the Saryu River, which comes to Ayodhya, has one of its tributaries originating at Mansarovar. So, in a
right,
sense, it's probably the most holiest of all, what is called as the axis mundi in sacred geography, from where the entire of Bharatvarsh is watered, and the whole civilization of Bharatvarsh gets, and we are all children of this ancient sacred land, right down to the entire two seas of the Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, and the Arabian Sea, and right down up to Sri Lanka. That's the whole importance of this sacred geography.
right. Awesome. So, Dr. Gokan, this is the last question that I will ask you. So, how do you see yourself in the future? And uh, after a long tenure of public service, how do you see yourself going forward from here?
Well, I'm already working with a lot of institutions and a lot of societies, contributing to their capacity development,
Right,
contributing to several individual lives, acting as a life coach to several individuals.
right,
And I'll continue to write on matters that I feel are esoteric to some, but of great importance to our civilization.
right. Thank you very much for your time. Really value the time you've given us and for your inputs. Wishing you all the best, and hope to see you soon in person.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.